Hello. How are you, everyone? Tonight is going to be all about catching up on all your questions. Alright? There have been a lot, and we haven't been getting around to doing every single one of them lately. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through and answer all the questions which I've got from the past and I haven't been able to answer properly, plus all the questions which you guys asked me tonight. Alright? So, whenever something comes to mind, post it up and I'm going to get onto it straight away. So we're not even going to have a focus topic tonight, we're just going to go through absolutely everything. Okay? But first things first, I'm going to share this in the shred community so all the shredders know that it's up. Where is it? Here we go. So I'm going to share this up and I'll give you guys the link to the shred community in a sec. Okay? How are you, John? Jordan and Kelly, good to have you here. How are you, Anthony? Good to have you on, mate. Yeah, so tonight, we're not going to go balls deep into a topic. We've been going through a heap of really heavy content. And pretty much if we keep doing that, then you guys probably aren't going to get as much out of it because it's not going to all sink in. You're not going to have time to ask questions. Hey, Will, how are you, brother? So yeah, tonight, as I said, it's just about going through it, asking as many questions as you want, getting the conversation up, because I'm sure that there's a heap of stuff which I've missed out on, which you guys want me to cover. John Timms, yes, molten balls are the best. They're the shit. I'm actually playing basketball tonight at about 10:15. Which is a bit late, so in 2 hours I've got to play. But, you know, you do it for the ball. Anyway, let's get into it. We've already got one question out here. Mark's just asked, mate, what brand and type of protein powder do you use? Sorry if it's already been asked. Mate, never be sorry for asking a question. Especially not here, because if you're on here right now, you're intelligent and you're always going to ask an intelligent question, right? The best protein powder, well, in my opinion, the one I use is Sebedo. I don't use a whole heap of whey. I use more BCAAs and EAAs, but if I am going to use a protein powder, then it's going to be Sebedo. Okay, you can get that from SebedoSupplements.com. That's the easiest one to get it. I got a really awesome question today in the shred community, and pretty much my boy asked, "Hey fam, is there anyone here who's got knowledge about gynecomastia, so the development of male nipples, male breast tissue more likely, and how to get rid of it without having to go through a surgery procedure? Cheers, fam." Right. So pretty much what gyno is when you have elevated levels of estrogen. You cause the production of breast tissue in your chest. Now this is really common in a lot of guys. A lot of guys who use steroids and don't use a proper protocol, they will suffer gyno. But also a lot of guys who just have excessive amounts of estrogen or imbalanced hormones or poor estrogen detoxification via the gut, and the gut doesn't clean it all out, they will also get gyno. So it's very common in teenage blokes. Even up to the mid-20s, some guys can just randomly get it. And the thing with gyno is that it looks shit. It's really, average. It's not good. It's kind of emasculating for a lot of guys. And so to get rid of it, what you need to do is, if you've been using steroids and you haven't been taking aromatase inhibitors, or you haven't been moderating your estrogen use, pretty much what you need to do is you need to get that cut out, because there's not terribly much you can do once it's set in and once it's really hard. However, if on the other hand you are natural, and it's just come about as a result of just your gut being poor and not detoxifying estrogen terribly well, then you can take the first thing that I do is I start smashing the berberine in order to optimize your gut. I'd also then begin taking some DIM and perhaps some calcium D-glucarate. That only works sometimes, but it's cheaper just to experiment with yourself. So yeah, some DIM and some calcium D-glucarate every single day. Then also take a little bit of milk thistle on top of that. Now, as far as pharmaceuticals go, two main ones in particular are really effective. So the first of which is taking tamoxifen, Nolvadex. All right, and the second one is taking letrozole. Nolvadex is what we call a SERM, a select estrogen receptor modulator, okay? And that completely blocks estrogen, which should allow the breast tissue to go away. Whereas letrozole, on the other hand, is a very harsh aromatase inhibitor and will nip that in the bud. With those two latter ones, I would recommend, somebody highly intelligent looking over you, such as your doctor, if they have experience in there. But yeah, surgery's a bitch with gyno, but in the end of the day, sometimes you are better to bite the bullet, pay a couple of grand for surgery to get it removed, and feel a whole heap better about you. Now, I've just had Stephen O'Connor and Cracker Wisey. What's the best natty cycle? What the fuck's a natty cycle? Alright? If you can clear that up, I think you're being a smart ass. But if you can clear that up, I do apologise for taking it as you being a smart ass. So if you can clear it up, let me know. One I actually got just the other day is my recommendation of steroid cycles for beginners. First thing first, ask why you're doing steroids in the first place. If you're trying to be an elite level athlete, then yeah, I'm sure do it under the supervision of your doctor or whatnot. But if you're just a regular, if you're just trying to lift and you're just trying to look good, you don't need fucking steroids to look good at all. No way in hell. I got 6 Olympia qualification points without that. You know what I mean? Like I competed against the best of the world, best in Australia without using any steroids at all. People will say otherwise, but you don't need to use them at all. However, if you are going to use steroids, then just keep just keep the dose down low, stick to testosterone, and that's pretty much all you really would need to do. Right? They're an enhancement, not something to use as a shortcut. If you're using it as a shortcut, you're going to get shit results. On that too, I've got a lot of guys who've been recently coming to me and they're on fuckloads of steroids. They're using absolute heaps. I'm like, wow, what are you doing? And their coaches are pushing these. And one thing a lot of people forget is that, well, they ask me and they're like, James, why am I not growing? Why am I not getting lean? I mean, I'm running all this shit. Isn't this like good stuff? I know it's good quality. Isn't it good? And I asked them, I'm like, have you even considered your training or your nutrition? And a lot of them are like, yeah, my diet's good. And I'm like, all right, show me. And literally, their diets are the fucking pits, like the worst diet. Their training's not periodized, anything like that. And it's like, no wonder you're not growing. Because even if you're taking anabolics, it's still not going to be able to out-shortcut and out-cheat a shit diet and a shit training program. So you need to make sure that your diet and your training are on point, because otherwise you just won't grow optimally. I had one yesterday actually as well. Someone was asking me about berberine, the dosage of berberine. What's the best dosage per day to take? Berberine is a fantastic drug for your gut. Well, not a drug. It's a fantastic herbal supplement for your gut. It'll increase fat loss, energy expenditure, improve your microbiome, inhibit parasites and bad things in your gut, and it can be anti-aging. You need to determine the right dose for you. If you take too much berberine, well, there's the chance that it may actually increase muscle loss and may actually make you less anabolic. Whereas if you take too little, then it's not really going to have much of an effect and you actually need a lot more of it. So the best thing for berberine is to work with somebody who knows how to use it, knows your body, and can work with you in order to fix the dose up. But really the dosage ranges of berberine come from 400 milligrams all the way up to about 2 grams per day, split in even doses. Ali, hey mate, thanks for the content. It's been great so far. I was wondering if you can recommend any books or sites for me to learn more about my gut health and what works best for my gut. I recently did a 6-week keto blast and it worked well, but when I went back to carbs, I couldn't handle it. And after a few weeks, I'm back on keto because it hurts not to be, but I want to eat more and other stuff, but smarter. Mate, there's actually literally nothing out there in regards to body composition and the gut. So there's literally zip. I'm probably one of the few people who's actually preaching this. I am coming up with a course, but it is a little while away. In the meantime, if you want a hand with that, pretty much just shoot us an inbox on here or leave us a comment. We'll get in touch with you, and you and I can have a chat about that, and we can sort you out. Maybe do a consult or something where I can tell you exactly what you need to do. All right, and that goes for anybody else who's interested in that. We can chat over Messenger. Julian, creatine when cutting detrimental to success? No way at all, mate. Creatine is the shit. It's absolutely mint. Highly recommend it. Okay. Very good. You'll see in your plan, man. It's there, 5 grams. All right, pre-workout. That's what I like. Jess, legend. Is it defo okay to push through and train when you have DOMs? I'm training every muscle twice a week, as you know, I go heavy and hard. Can I push through the DOMs? Thanks, JC. Yes, you can. You can always train with DOMs. Guys, DOMs do not make you stop, right? There's always that one guy in the gym who's a little bit of a pussy, all right? A little bit of a pussy. And he's like, oh no, man, like you shouldn't train with DOMs because it just means you're breaking down more muscle fibers which are already damaged from your previous weight session and you won't ever recover. Tell him to go fuck off because it's completely incorrect. You can just train till the cows come home, all right? Just because you're sore doesn't mean you should stop. Push through, push on hard, and make sure that make sure that you're training intelligently, so you're looking after your training volume, your intensity, and also all that sort of stuff. And make sure that if you're balancing all that out, you're going to be sweet. You're not going to have any issues. All right, so push through, JM. Andrew, is it normal to feel groggy in the morning after taking melatonin? No, it's not normal to feel groggy. Guys, if any of you take a sleep supplement and you feel groggy the next morning, one or two things that happen. Number one, you haven't slept long enough. Number two, you're GABA deficient and overstressed, okay? So you need to figure out which one of those two it is, all right? Normally it's the latter, meaning you're GABA deficient and overstressed. If you are GABA deficient, you need to find out the cause and you need a supplement to overcome that, because otherwise your brain function isn't going to be optimal at all, and you're going to leave yourself open to things like anxiety, poorer responses to stress, lowered sex drive, and poorer gut health. Alright? Aiden, AAKG versus L-arginine, what's better and why? Awesome question, big man. So for those of you who don't know, AAKG is arginine alpha ketoglutarate. L-arginine is just an amino acid, which is the first part, the first A in AAKG. When we have AAKG, we have two separate things. We've got arginine and we have alpha ketoglutarate. Now, the arginine itself, that improves a little bit of blood flow, you know, might be slightly anabolic, might make you lose slightly more fat, but there's not a whole heap of really concrete evidence to say that it's good. AKG, on the other hand, is highly anabolic and has been shown repeatedly, and I've had a shitload of my clients use it and have absolutely epic results, okay? So with the AAKG versus L-arginine, I would go for AAKG 10 times out of 10 because it has that AKG attached, which is shown to be very, very anabolic and fantastic for muscle gain. I'm pretty sure it results in a decrease in fat mass as well when following a correct diet. Next one. Hey Shredders, what is the best place, brand, timing and dosage for GABA, okay? GABA, as you all know, GABA is the thing which slows you down, chills you out, allows you to relax, sleep and all that, right? And when you need to take GABA is when you're GABA deficient, when you can't chill out, when your work's a little bit too much, when you got a lower sex drive, inability to concentrate, and you can only focus on like 5 tasks. You can't just sit down and look at one at a time. You're constantly going from here to here to here to here to here, okay? So, the best place to get GABA is going to be either TotalNootropics.com or iHerb. The best brand is either the Total Nootropics brand or Now Foods. The best time and the best dosage really depend on you. GABA won't make you sleepy, okay? It will make your muscles relaxed. So you can take it in day and at night, and the dosage depends from person to person exactly how much you need and how efficient you are. Monty, hey bro, lifting pretty heavy these days. Joints starting to ache a little bit during the workout. What's the best method to promote synovial fluid? Well, look, dude, you shouldn't have any issues with synovial fluid just because you're lifting heavy. That's rarely a cause in my experience unless you have very low estrogen levels. So what we might do is we might increase your fat and get you to take a little bit of glucosamine, okay? The other thing is when you get inflamed joints and you get really sore joints, this goes for all you guys, pretty much what is happening is that you've got some inflammation in there, all right? And it's not getting resolved, it's not going away, it's not making, anything better for you. So you need to fix the cause of the inflammation. Now, the underlying cause of literally all inflammation begins in the gut, okay? As always, it always begins in the gut. And when you have a bad gut, you often get joint pain. And so what you need to do is you fix up the gut and then often the joint pain gets alleviated. On top of this too, you can also try using heat, like deep heat and Tiger Balm to push heat into the area to encourage the healing if you have damage there. The other thing that you can do on top of that as well is that if you have poor biomechanics, if you fix your biomechanics, you're gonna be laughing. It's gonna make life much easier for you. Okay, so they're the easiest solutions for that, Big Monty. Now, Nihad, how many days should we be training a week? It doesn't matter, dude. Well, actually, no, I'll take that back. It does. Really, you should have at least one rest day every 7 days, or 7 to 10 days in general. One rest day every 7 to 10 is a pretty good amount. That tends to work quite well. It also depends on how hard you're training. So if you're training balls to the wall, you might need to train a little bit more. If you're not training so hard, then yeah, you can train 7 days a week pretty easily. The main thing that you got to do, Nihad, is you got to balance out your intensity, your volume, and pretty much your rate of perceived exertion. So how hard you feel you're pushing in order to get the optimal results. Cool. Now, I got one the other day. What are the best nootropics for brain function? So, as you all know, you probably heard from my speaking so far, we've gone over nootropics really heavily. I'm a massive fan of them because these things, they make your brain work so much better. When your brain works better, your lifts get better, your life gets better, everything gets better after that, okay? So, the best nootropics for brain function are, number one is going to be theocrine. Theocrine works on the adenosine receptor, I'm pretty sure the adenosine receptor, and it increases the amount, it helps to reduce the sleepiness feeling, okay? The next one is going to be GABA, improves your confidence, your thinking, reduces anxiety. 5-HTP is absolutely fantastic because it does a whole heap of things. It makes GABA more effective, it boosts your sex drive, makes you last longer, guys, as well. Another fun fact about it. It's absolutely huge, improves your mood a lot. Alpha GPC and phosphatidylcholine are also great because they improve your brain speed, your working memory, and that sort of stuff. All right? So there are 5 really easy ones to start off with. I had a really good question. Here we go. Andrew, what's the best theocrine? The best theocrine, man, I just use the stuff from totalnootropics.com. Pretty sure theocrine's theocrine. It's just a powder in itself. It's just like its own molecule. It's not like a brand name. So yeah, mate, just go to Total Nootropics. That's where I use. The next one. Now, Eric, big legend from the big American Eric. He's bloody tall, this bloke. Huge guy, big future in bodybuilding. Now, Eric's been asking about nootropics. He says, anyone use nootropics? I just bought a bunch of Alcar, Alpha GPC, Piracetam, and SAMe. I take 2.4 grams of Alcar, 1200 mgs of Alpha GPC, and 2.8 to 4 grams of Piracetam. Problem is I crash. I'm trying to find that balance between optimizing memory and making it extraordinary, that and attention span and learning. Anyone have incredible results from these and experience a crash and figure out how to circumvent? If you're getting a crash after taking something, okay, after any sort of nootropic or anything like that, pretty much what you need to do is you need to look at 2 things. You need to look at how's your sleep, because really no amount of nootropics or anything can overcome shit sleep or poor sleep. So you need to look at that, number one. The first thing I look to do is to make sure that you're getting sufficient GABA and you're making sure that you are sleeping really, really well, and then you can take these things and keep you going. Number 2, the other thing is that you got to look at is you got to look at whether your crash is just a perceived crash because you can't function as well as when you're up here. So when you're on some of my nootropic protocols, your brain function will be off the charts. It'll be really, really epic. But the problem is some people metabolize these things much faster and get rid of them, and they get like a come down, not a come down, but because you actually don't get a come down from these things. But you'll feel like you won't be able to function up here, at 130%. When and you drop back down to 100% shortly after doing that. The thing that you got to do is you got to work out the dosage for you, because everybody takes different amounts and it's metabolized in at different speeds. Okay, so work out how much you need to take and in how many intervals you need to take. The other thing too is that less is more. You don't want to be taking shitloads of these. Like Eric's taking a whole heap because he's been taking for ages, but you don't need to take an absolute shitload of these nootropics. Kelly, how can us chicks deal with the monthly cravings? Is there something we can do or take? Awesome question, Kelly. Really good question. So many girls get this, okay? So the really, really interesting thing about your period is it plays around with estrogen. So when you got, estrogen going all over the place, all right, and you're a girl, it affects two key things. It affects serotonin and it affects the trigeminal nerve. And now, when it affects the trigeminal nerve, that's when you get your headaches and your migraines and stuff like that. When it affects serotonin, that is also when you get those hectic mood swings, like huge mood swings, where you can go from feeling on top of the world to utter depression. All right, that affects your cramps, that affects your gut health in a huge way, in a massive way. And obviously serotonin is really, really well linked with with food cravings. And when you have low levels of serotonin, you automatically gravitate towards sweet foods. So how you can fix all these things, not just the sweet food cravings, is you can take a little bit of 5-HTP. All right, you can take a couple hundred milligrams of 5-HTP several times a day, and it should alleviate all this. On top of this, you can also chuck in some inositol too. Hope that helps, Kelly. Let us know how you go. We'll chat on that. Now, Jess, water take. Is it 70 mils per kilo? Can't find much literature on it. Please confirm. Thank you. Yes, there is zero literature on it because I came up with it. That's my rule. That's what I go off, and that's what I see as being most effective. 70 mils per kilo is correct. So if you're 100 kilos, then you drink 7 liters per day. All right. Jesse Matheson, your thoughts on a plant-based diet? Pros and cons, if any at all. Looking to try something different. Thanks, mate. Plant-based diet. Look, Jesse, first of all, what are your goals? All right, write out your goals and I'll help you out specifically. But in general, a plant-based diet is just not going to be the way to go if you want optimal gains. You can't ever make you can make pretty good gains on a plant-based diet, but I always see people get better results when they're eating meat. Right? It is much harder, much harder to get results on a plant-based diet because when you have a plant-based diet, you obviously have a poorer amino acid profile, and you also end up having to intake more carbs and more fats with less protein, right? Because it's really, really hard to get in. So if you're looking to get big and get lean, I would not recommend a plant-based diet. However, with that being said, there are plenty of people who do succeed on a plant-based diet and can look pretty good. There's nobody up at the top levels, so nobody who's like really freaking ridiculously good and really shredded who's up there at the top using a plant-based diet, but it can be quite good. So yeah, Jesse, if you let us know your goals, we'll sort you out. Tom Begley, best meats for people with a sensitive gut. Any meat is good for people with a sensitive gut, big fella, alright? The thing that you need to do is you need to fix up your stomach function, you need to fix up your neurotransmitter function, then your digestion will be sweet. Anyone out there, if you find meat really hard to digest, then it's going to be because your stomach's not working properly. It's not because your body rejects meat. It's not because, you're meant to be vegan or vegetarian or whatever. It's not because meat's bad for you, because it's not, alright? The reason why you can't digest meat is because your stomach is not working properly, it's not moving properly, and it's not producing enough hydrochloric acid. From there on, you also might find that you've got a bit of a pancreatic insufficiency or your gallbladder's not working terribly well, okay? So you need to find out which of those are the cause, which of those are going wrong, and then fix them. Because there should be no real difference in, there is no difference in meat and how it affects you. What I will say though, Tom, is that if you're eating lots and lots of red meat, it is going to be hard for you to digest because you've already got an insufficiency in your stomach, and you will get crook more often because you're not making enough hydrochloric acid. So you can limit the red meat, or alternatively you can just supplement with a lot more apple cider vinegar, and then that should pretty much make it go away. Alright? The next one, Scotty Hill. How many hours of sleep should we have a night? I recommend a minimum of 8 hours of sleep, although there are exceptions to this. But optimal is actually over 10 hours of sleep per night. They did a study, a really awesome study in the US about this, and they looked at it and they said that the athletes who slept more than 10 hours per night performed a shitload better than the people who slept less than 10 hours per night, okay? So if you can get more than 10 hours per night, that's going to be optimal for your gains, your shred, performance, the whole lot, okay? Brendan asked me, what do you reckon about Duramine? I saw a woman get it and I didn't think she was overweight. The doctors seem happy to give it out pretty easily. So Duramine is an appetite suppressant. It's meant to be a fat loss drug. Now what this stuff is it's pretty much speed. In fact, I'll look up the chemical composition of it right now. Here we go, Duramine. Duramine. Also called phentermine. Here we go, got it. So it has a pharmacology, or it has a structure very, very similar to amphetamine. Now what it does is it pretty much stimulates your brain a heap and it causes you to go almost into fight or flight, right? And when you go into fight or flight, all your nerves tighten up in your stomach, so your stomach's not as expanded, and that reduces your, desire for hunger. So pretty much what it does is it doesn't actually make you lose fat. It makes you, it suppresses your appetite, puts you on speed, all right, overstimulates you, and pretty much burns out your nervous system, which isn't fun at all. Good one, doctors. That's a great one to prescribe for fat loss. If you are struggling with fat loss and you can't do it, the first step you need to do is fix your gut. All right, that's the first thing that you need to do. Once you fix your gut, all right, you'll instantly notice that your fat loss cravings go away because your neurotransmitters are now balanced and your gut biome's balanced. All right, that's all you need to do. Fuck Duramine, don't use it, not worthwhile. Matt King, how much apple cider ginger do you recommend on a daily basis for optimal results, bro? Apple cider vinegar, I think that's meant to be. Pretty much, man, you can have as much of the stuff as you like. There is no way you can overdose on it. So minimum 1 tablespoon, or if you're using betaine HCl, it's you don't need it. But yeah, minimum 1 tablespoon or 650 milligrams of betaine HCl with gentian bitters. Kelly, if you've had your gallbladder removed, will this affect the way your body processes fat, and do you need to compensate for this in other ways? Good question, Kelly. So a lot of people do have their gallbladders removed for various reasons. And what this does is this means that you produce less bile. And when you produce, you produce less concentrated bile. And when you have less concentrated bile, what happens is your body really struggles to break down fat, right? And you often some people get steatorrhea. Now this is more common in some people than others. So if you notice that you struggle with fats and you don't feel good on fats, then Kelly, yes, we have an issue and we need to compensate. The way that you can compensate this is simply through taking ox bile acids and increasing your dose of betaine HCl, all right? 2 really, really easy ways there. However, most people are actually quite fine on it. Maybe they just need to take, a few more digestive enzymes and perhaps a small amount of ox bile acids. But yes, there is a way around it. Tom, do you have apple cider vinegar straight or with something to help the taste? I like apple cider vinegar straight just because I put it straight down the hatch and it's easy. The thing you got to remember with it, you need to wash it down with a bit of water afterwards, okay? You need to wash it down, swirl it in your mouth, get rid of it, because otherwise the acid in it draws the calcium away from your teeth because your calcium tries to neutralize it. So make sure that you are washing your mouth away. Now, I got asked the other day, I rag on sucralose a lot. Sucralose, the sweetener in most proteins, BCAAs, all that sort of stuff. Not a fan of it. It's crap. Waste of time, alright? There's only one protein which I can take with sucralose in it, and it's because it's a tiny bit, and that's Sabido. Otherwise, it's absolutely, it ruins my gut. Any whey protein with sucralose in it ruins my gut and ruins a heap of people's guts. And so someone asked me, why is sucralose so bad? Sucralose is what we call a sugar alcohol. This means that it is a non-nutritive. It contains 0 calories, and the other thing is that it contains 0 calories, and that it sweetens things really, really well. So it's super, super, super sweet. Now, what it does is in the gut, it goes down there, and your bacteria, they can ferment this stuff. Right, so they pretty much eat it up and they produce gas as a result of it. And what that gas does is that often paralyzes your gut or damages your gut. And so it causes you either to get, more commonly, constipation and sometimes diarrhea. And so when you have a whole heap of sucralose, it sits in your gut. And the worst thing about sucralose is it will sit in there for up to 24 to 36 hours, right? Somewhere in that region. And it ferments and ferments and ferments and ferments in your gut until it's finally excreted, okay? And that's it, and that's what it does. So it's really, really bad for your gut health, gives you bad farts, gives you bad belching, poor bowel movements, all that lot, okay? So that's why I don't like sucralose, and that's why I don't think you should have it. Jeff Cooper. My bicep sets are 6 sets of 30 reps. Why? Alright, so a big one thing that I'm a massive fan of, and that's doing high rep workouts, alright? At the end of the session, I love it. Just doing a few biceps or triceps to finish off arms, for example. If we need to build your arms, or delts, or hamstrings, quads, whatever. We do 6 sets of 30 reps, and the reason why that is pretty much you get an epic pump, and you actually begin to get a better mind-muscle connection. So that the more reps you do, the better every single rep becomes, and then you're later on more effective at utilizing these muscles. So that's the big reason for that. Deadlifts feature in most workouts regardless of the focus. Why? I love deadlifts if you want to grow and lose fat. In my opinion, for guys like you, Jeff, who are not the most, not the biggest dudes, who've got smaller frames, typically you're more ectomorph side of things, so you're more guys who find it harder to put on muscle and stay relatively lean. Deadlifts are fantastic for you because you will get leaner and you'll get bigger by doing them. Big Brendan, can you put the vinegar in your water and then be okay, or do you still need to give it a rinse out? Mate, I would always just give your mouth a rinse out whenever you eat apple cider vinegar, alright, whenever you consume it. Matt King, your thoughts on easy digesting carbs before training, i.e. internationals, extreme carbs, shift workers, so don't always have time to eat after work. Mate, in the end of the day, the number one thing that you need to do is you need to make sure that you get in the total macronutrients, or your total calories, your total carbs, fats and proteins in the day, alright? So if you can't eat after work, and you just train, then yes, have your carbs, easy to digest carbs beforehand. That's cool. Doesn't matter. But optimally, what I normally say for most people is general advice, all right? Before I do personalized plans and all that, I say generally, you're best off backloading and having all your carbs immediately post-workout, or later on the night before you go to bed. Big Joe, how are you, brother? Is it better to focus on strength first before cutting, or powerlifting? Pretty much, man. Strength is always awesome for guys who are natural. That's why I have such a big focus on it. Okay, when you focus on strength, you will grow more muscle and you'll be able to lose more fat and retain more muscle during a cut. You'll also look bigger, you'll feel awesome, and you get to boost your ego in the gym every time because you're lifting fucking big weights. All right, so that's why I love strength workouts. So yeah, if you do if you do strength before and during a before a cutting phase, it's going to be happy days. All right. With a natty guy, you can't go wrong with strength lifting as long as it fits in your neurotransmitter profile. Sup, Bruzzy? How are you, Evan, Brad? Good to have you on here, mate. You got to contribute, big fella. You're a veteran of competing. Brendan, I'll let the missus know she has it daily, and since the cancer treatments of bone density isn't the greatest, it's probably something to watch. Mate, I definitely, after your missus with a cancer, I'd definitely get into the apple cider vinegar, and I'd also smash the berberine every single day. Berberine and metformin is shown to actually slow the progression of cancer. I think I've got a study here for it, as well as that intermittent fasting is another great one for her to try. All right, I hope they help. What was the next one? I got a question the other day. Toulouse. Can you make the bouncing chest when you talk in the camera? So Tulum wanted to see my titties bounce. Yes, I can bounce my chest, Tulum. Nick Pressler. Do your macros change massively from cutting to bulking? Yeah, dude, fucking hurt. Massively. Getting down into a cut, I'll drop my carbs down to as low as 50 or 100 grams a day, okay? When right at the end of it, my protein will stay around 250, and my fats will be around 50 to 60. All right, right at the end, right at the hard end of it. Okay, they all always vary from prep to prep depending on how I'm looking. But yeah, man, they massively change from bulking. Right now, I'm smashing 4,500. I got my Lindt chocolate here. This stuff. I'm eating. So yeah, dude, they change in a big way, hugely. And so should yours, right? Your macro ratios may not change as much, but I still think that they should. Graffy, how are you, big man? Nick Pressler, what's that in percentage? Oh, fuck, man. Probably 50% coming from protein, 10 to 20% coming from carbs, and the rest coming from fats, right? My protein's normally a very high percentage of my caloric intake. Evan, strength and powerlifting while hypertrophy. An undulating program is amazing. 3 bench, 3 squat, 2 deadlift movements a week. Rep sets 3x3, 3x8, 3x12 to 15. Yeah, guys, what Evan's just outlined there is that if you want to build muscle while doing if you want to use a strength and powerlifting program to do hypertrophy, what you do is you need to hit all the rep ranges, or he suggests that it's very good to hit all the rep ranges. It's one of the programs we do, where you'll hit lower rep ranges at the start of the week, and then gradually you increase the rep range. In that as well, you often train in whole body workouts or multiple body part workouts throughout the whole week with a big focus on compounds. It will improve your gains in a big way if used correctly and at the right time. The next one. Chance asked us, just curious, started my post-workout cardio with a light jog. After a minute, my left calf suddenly cramped for about 40 seconds and would continue if I had have kept jogging. Tips on how to stop and avoid this from happening. If you guys are cramping, the number one thing you're most likely deficient in is magnesium. All right. On top of that too, it could be any of the other electrolytes, most commonly calcium or potassium. Now, if you are deficient in these things, it shows that your body's actually a bit acidic. Now, you've probably heard the word acidic being thrown around before. When you are acidic and when your body's not working terribly well, what you want to do is you want to make sure that you are negating the acidity. So things that cause acidity are things like, being on a low-calorie diet, having a higher amount of fat in your diet, eating acidic foods, and not eating enough alkaline foods. Okay? And when you do this, you deplete all of your electrolytes because they're used to pretty much reduce the acidity in your body. So to reduce the instance of cramping, I recommend a high dose of magnesium every day, which all my clients should be taking, which I have them on. And then if you're still cramping after that, try some Crampes, which is calcium carbonate. All right, Ruan Dubois, the Dubois method got me onto that one. It's awesome. Sam Schmidt, g'day, Cobber. Oh, what a good word, mate. What a good word. Love your videos. I'm currently focusing on weight loss and steadily losing 1 kilo a week. Killing it, man. When I decide to start training for growth in the future, what type of calorie climb do I need to take to avoid blowing out? Sam, that is a great question, but I cannot answer it for you, mate. The thing that you need to do is you need to increase your calories as quickly as possible with gaining as little fat or no fat, okay? You need to make sure that you stay lean at all times, and to do this, you just need to constantly assess and reassess. That's what I do for all my guys. Whenever we're climbing the mount of a cut, we bump up the calories dramatically immediately, 500 to 700 to 1,000 calories straight off the bat, and then from there monitor them each week. Joe, hi James, what are your thoughts on stevia? Hi Joe, mate, my thoughts on stevia, that's fucking awesome, alright? Stevia is amazing. I had some of my gluten-free Wheat Bix just before, mint, really good, love it. It's fantastic for insulin sensitivity, allegedly. It's awesome. You can't go wrong with stevia. Oscar Billings, you're eating chocolate hard. What chocolates are okay to eat if you're still training and wanting to lose your gut? Man, dark chocolates, it's amazing, really good for you. But pretty much, the main thing you need to look at, dude, is you need to look at your total caloric and macro intake, alright? So if you need a hand with that, let us know and we can help you out. And you can eat chocolate and get shredded just like us and all my team do. Pretty much what everyone does when they sign up with us and we get them on chocolate every day and they can have chocolate several times a day. They're all like, man, this is weird. I've never been able to eat this in my life. But yes, everyone can get lean eating chocolate every single day. So there's no reason why you can't too. Chris Deacon, any advice on training around distal bicep tendonitis? Yes, mate. Number one thing is look at your shoulder. Whenever you get bicep tendonitis or anything around the elbow, generally it ends up being a shoulder problem or less commonly a wrist problem. So fix your shoulder first, fix your abdominal tightness and your lack of thoracic extension, and then it should be fine, okay? So yeah, the biggest thing is don't work around it, just fix the problem in the first place, all right? I've done it for heaps of people. If you're in Sydney, visit the squat doc, Abdel Mohammed. Inbox us if you need his number. All right, he'll sort you out. Chris Towers, I want to sign up. No worries, big fella. We'll shoot you a message, and we'll get you sorted, mate. Do you want to get bigger or leaner or both? Justin, how are you, big man? Going on a holiday and want to make the most of being away from the usual stresses of the daily grind. What's some things I can implement, supplements, etc., to improve gut health? Mate, the best thing that you can implement when you're on holiday is to sleep, relax, and chill out. Okay. The next thing you can do is to, if it works for you, take a probiotic while you're away. You need to be they need to be personalized to you. But yeah. And the other thing is take some betaine HCl with you, take a bit of magnesium, and take a sleep aid supplement or some 5-HTP, and that will sort you out. All right. Chris Towers, you want to get bigger and leaner? Well, mate, we'll do it, and we'll make sure that you're shredding and gaining at a very, very quick rate. I'll inbox you in a sec, my man. Once we're off here, we can chat, and you get to meet Joel as well. Who's back from holidays tomorrow. Alex, hey James, question: what's your thoughts on GVT, German volume training? Have you done it before? Thinking of giving it a go? Alex, German volume training is great if you're the right person for it. Some people are just not suited for GVT at all. All right, and when that's the case, life is not good. I mean, you need to make sure that you are properly suited for it. So for example, if you're somebody who loses weight very, very easily, GVT is not for you. You're going to burn out in a big, big way. If you're excessively stressed, GVT is not for you. You need to be a relatively chilled out person. You need to be able to put on weight and fat relatively easily, all right? And then GVT is going to be great for you. If not, you're going to have to have some really specific workings in around your programming and as far as your design and nutrition go in order to make it work. So that's a very long, convoluted way of saying it varies from person to person. In general, yes, I'm a fan of it. I've used it. It did burn me out because I didn't properly compensate for it. But when I do use it and compensate for it properly with my nutrition, with shitloads of carbs, then it's great. All right, guys. Well, look, on that note, I'm going to leave you all to it. Thank you for being a part of the Q&A. Thank you very much, Evan Barrard, for your contributions. I'll see you all tomorrow night. I'm going to be live. Oh no, tomorrow's Friday. Tomorrow Friday, yes, I will be on tonight on live. Same time, 7:30, 8 o'clock. Alright? Sydney time that is. And we'll speak to you all then. So in the meantime, if you have any questions that you want to ask, just comment them below and we'll get you sorted. Alright? I look forward to speaking to you all soon.